And we're back.
Welcome back, everyone. How you doing, Luke?
Doing well, man. How are you?
Good. Today we're going to go straight ape degen mode and talk about something that we hardly ever talk about on the chat.
That's
Price.
right. Price.
The age-old question of Wen Moon.
Yep.
It's
There's
as
a lot
old
to
as
unpack
Bitcoin.
here.
What's up?
There's a lot to unpack here.
There is a lot to unpack, of course. But first, let's do a quick introduction. So my name is Kui. I'm an engineer, and I work with Luke over here, and we're the creators of BurnCoin. And we're just longtime standing community members of the Koinos community.
That's right. Yeah, and we're doing these for the next couple of weeks, leading up to the snapshot of the Koinos network, and then shortly thereafter, the mainnet launch. So. In the meantime, we're just prepping everybody with knowledge about what to do to prepare, talking about price today. And if you're excited about this and you want to know more about Koinos, there's a lot more videos here on Kui's channel. I also run a daily newsletter and a weekly podcast over at thecoinpress.com. So we'll drop that in the chat here for anybody.
Yeah, you actually just had a recent really interesting discussion about land is a big deal. I actually just bought the book as well.
Yeah, that was a fun one. It seems very not directly related to crypto, but there's actually a lot to take away from that. I won't give it away. You can definitely go give it a listen there. Great interview with Lars Dessay about taxation and the value of land and how that applies to assets in crypto.
Absolutely. So you haven't heard the podcast, I strongly recommend you listen to it. And if you did, I would listen to it twice. In fact, I listened to it once and getting ready to listen to it a second time. I even bought the book because there's a lot of ties into the crypto world about it. But anyway, this show is going to run about 30 minutes. And next week, we're going to try to hit 3 to 5 shows as we lead up to Snapshot. Snapshot's date is October 31st or beyond, but prepare for October 31st. And we may be seeing the Koinos mainnet launch very soon.
And that's a constant question for people, is that October 31st or later. Just for all intents and purposes, treat it as October 31st.
Absolutely.
That gives the team a little bit of flexibility in terms of when they actually press the button. But yeah, it's just it's a non-entity in terms of or later.
So I'm kind of pulled apart on how to start the show, the fair market value of coin, or we're going to go into a little bit about how we're going to end up with that price prediction. How do you want to start, Luke?
Let's start with where we are today. What's the price of coin right now?
Let me bring my screen up right now and we'll take a look real quick. Let's see here. Share my screen. I'm going to share the specific window. Share. All right. So let's take a look to, I think, my left over here. Everybody's left the screen. So here is CoinGecko. Let's go down the list of tokens. I think we're at number 400 and something. So let's go to page 4.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, where are we today? We're actually seeing a lot of newcomers. In fact, if this is the first time seeing the show, or if you're new to Koinos, welcome. We've seen a lot of uptick lately on what's going on. A lot of people interested in what Koinos is.
Yeah, lots of new community members. We got picked up by the Beanstalk Discord and had a bunch of new people coming over and talking to us about it. So welcome, everybody. So 435.
Rank number 435. Today's current price at this time, 3:04 p.m. Eastern time, 43 cents, basically.
Yep. So that's 43 cents on a total supply of just under 100 million. Yeah. And so that brings us to 43 million market cap, basically. So you can compare that with the biggest blockchains, Bitcoin and Ethereum, and we're nowhere close at the moment. But if you look at the chart and kind of compare it with the early days of a lot of other cryptocurrencies that are currently sitting high on the charts, it looks pretty healthy. And the reason for that is because of the way that Koinos was launched. It was fair launched through a proof of work mining system. There was no early allocation for the team. It was all first come, first serve. Whoever showed up and mined the token got it. And then there've been sales through Uniswap since then, but we're still in the early days. Mainnet isn't even out yet.
Absolutely. I think early on, the first contract price of Koinos was, I got to go dig back into it. I don't have it with me at the moment, but basically, when coins first came out, nobody paid anything for it because you can get it through a miner, and it was basically the cost of transaction, cost of submitting a transaction and running a computer. And so back then, it was a pure speculation. The code wasn't out yet. There wasn't a test net, and if you had the basically time to mine it, then you just did it. However, some guy came along and put the coin token with with Ethereum on the version 2 Uniswap. Version 3 wasn't out yet, and at that point, trading took off. And next thing you know it, we reached I think we reached an all-time high when. Let's see here. Let's go back to share my screen.
It was around December last year when everything else was peaking too. So yeah, we topped out right around $1.50, and the price at the time was, it spiked up very quickly, and then some people got out, and we've trended down along with everything else in the industry. But recently, we've ticked up and gone counter to the kind of the overall trend. So where a lot of other crypto has been slowly trending down, we've been slowly trending up. So
yeah, I think we've hit almost an 80% increase in the last 2 months, right?
Yeah, something like that.
It's been pretty good. But do you want to go into the price prediction now, or do you want to go more into how we're going to build to that price?
Well, let's to make a price prediction out of the blue, I want to set a little bit of the framework for how we think about coin, right? Because right now, the token you can buy is an ERC20, and it's just a token that's going to be snapshotted, and it's going to be basically copied over to the mainnet. And that is going to be a totally, it's a process that basically abandons the ERC20. So from where we are right now, you're buying a promise of what will come with mainnet. But there's risk involved in that because mainnet isn't out yet. Now, if you take the time to go investigate the testnet and understand what's been built and do your research into the team, like us, you'll see that there's a lot of good things going around. So not financial advice, do your own research, but there's a lot of good here. And that's why we're around and why we're talking about these things. And we're not affiliated with the Koinos group. We know the guys, but we're separate entities, and we're just excited about the tech and about what's being built here.
Absolutely. None of this is financial advice. Do your own research, and we are not affiliated with the group at all. We're not being paid to do this at all either. And both Luke and I are token holders, as likely many of you are, or you're thinking about it.
Right. So that's where we're at today, right? You're buying this promise. Now, there's going to be a gap in trading, and let me explain why. With the snapshot, between then and when mainnet launches, there's going to be no way to really use your tokens because any activity after the snapshot on the Ethereum network won't be carried over to mainnet. So don't buy tokens after October 31st. Don't sell tokens after October 31st. They're useless. So with that cutoff, now there's no way to interact with your tokens. And leading up to that, we'll probably see some weird stuff going on with the price, with people pulling their liquidity off of Uniswap. And I don't know what else we'll see, but it could fluctuate wildly. It could stay kind of steady, and then it might just go to zero because it's just the ERC20 token. So don't get too excited if that happens. It's just the part of the process of taking that snapshot and moving it over to mainnet.
Right.
And once mainnet launches, then it's still going to be probably a little bit of time until the token's tradable again, because right now you're able to get dollars into the system through Ethereum. You can get there through centralized exchange. You can bridge there if you're on another network. But Koinos doesn't have any of that right now. So we don't know if or when a centralized exchange is coming. We're hopeful, but that's all hidden behind talks with the Koinos group, and we'll know more when there's official announcements to be made there. The bridge has been half built, but there's not any plan, as far as I'm aware, to have that ready to go at mainnet launch. So again, we're still going to see a lack of really tradability of the coin token
Mm-hmm.
until we get kind of an off ramp, on ramp situation between the real world and Koinos. If you want to buy it right after mainnet, you're probably going to have to do an over the counter deal with somebody in the community.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, I think today we saw someone, and I'm going back a little bit to some of the things that would happen as we approach the snapshot date. But today, I think somebody pulled off a significant amount of liquidity from the version 3 Uniswap pool already.
Right.
And shortly thereafter, some guy decided to ape in and buy 20 ETH worth of coin. And stuff like this is going to happen. As we approach that last few days to capture or to buy the ERC20 coin in preparation for the mainnet, people will end up seeing the price spike. There will be low liquidity, lower than there is already right now. And you're likely going to see people who may want to ape in. You may also see people who want to dump the token because they know they can't actually sell the token for a little while. These are all speculators, right? Not everyone is here for the long haul. People are always trading things. And so you're going to see a lot of volatility. And over time, you're going to see liquidity reduced to basically zero. So if you're interested in buying, if you want to avoid that, the volatility, you should technically purchase the token now. But this is obviously not financial advice. The price will be highly volatile. However, I think at the 43 cent mark right now, it's a pretty fair value given the last couple of days. I mean, we've gone to a high of 150, I think 163 in some places we've seen. But we've also gone down as far as 15 cents in the last couple of weeks. But we've seen an 80% uptick. I'm pretty happy about the price right now.
For sure. Yeah. I think any price before mainnet is strictly speculation of people who believe in what's going to happen. And obviously we're here, we believe in it. But really, like, the action starts to happen once we're on mainnet and we get an off ramp, on ramp going, because this is where we really get into the tokenomics of the real mainnet coin. The difference is mana and feeless transactions and proof of burn. These are the inflationary and deflationary forces on the network, and you'll start to see a very interesting landscape come out of Koinos. So, Kui, do you want to give us kind of an overview of the tokenomics and talk through how that's going to impact price?
So let's talk with the ERC20 first, just because that's kind of the world we live in right now. By the way, I just want to give a little shout out here for HA. You guys are smashing with the live stream. Thank you very much. I really hope you guys enjoy this. But currently, there at the start of this network, there were 100 million tokens available. You could mine it through a proof of work mining system that you could download and run a program with. That's largely done. We're at 99.6 million tokens that are available out there. Let's share my screen again real quick. So we go back to this chart over here, right, to our screen left. There are 99,684,997 tokens in circulation right now. Out of those tokens, they're basically all going to get included into a snapshot. And in that snapshot, you'll basically be able to claim your portion of it one-to-one on mainnet. But for now, I'm losing track right now just because I don't normally like to talk about price. I'm being very careful what I say. But with these tokens right now, the only thing you can do with it is basically trade on Uniswap. When we move over to mainnet, you start off with 0 tokens. And as you claim those tokens, the number of actual tokens available on mainnet will increase by the claim amount. And so we won't actually have this exact number of tokens available, at mainnet launch. You have to claim them to bring them into existence. There's no timeline to when you can claim them. Now, with the tokenomics of this, once mainnet comes out, we have the system called proof of burn. And in the proof of burn system, we burn tokens, the coin token, to get VHP tokens. So when you see this number, we'll likely see that a certain amount of the coin tokens are burnt, and the total supply is a mixture between coin and VHP. And so that's going to be a little bit confusing for people, and I hope that's not going to throw anybody off.
Let me give a 2-minute version of what VHP is and how that works. So basically, proof of burn is the mechanism, and Lyric Larson asked, is Koinos like the first proof of burn blockchain ever? And the answer to that is no. Proof of burn has been explored on other blockchains in the past, but this is really, it's a novel implementation of the concept. The idea of proof of burn was actually thought up before proof of stake, if I remember correctly, posted on the Bitcoin Talk forums. And the way that Koinos has implemented it is that coin is the token that has mana, and it actually has utility for covering transaction costs and all that. And you destroy the tokens, and in exchange get this other token called VHP. And VHP stands for virtual hash power. So it's very much a corollary to proof of work. So if you're familiar with the proof of work economics, where you spend your real world cash on computers to get real hash power, this is a virtualized version of that. So you're burning coin to get VHP. And the system is targeting a 50% burn rate. So out of the 100 million tokens, 50 million being burnt at any given point in time. Now, depending on demand for yield through this or demand for liquidity for coin, we'll see that number fluctuate up and down. And the yield for miners will also fluctuate up and down as a result. So if fewer people are mining and burning their coin for VHP, you'll see higher returns. And if there's more people burning, then you'll see lower returns. So it just incentivizes the right amount of participation. Now, the inflation rate with proof of burn, because you have your VHP and you participate in mining, and every time you produce a block, it burns some of your VHP and gives you back the same amount of coin plus a little bit. So that's where your profit comes in.
Right.
So that profit is generated solely through inflation. Because of the mana system, there's no gas fee to pay the miners. So all of the profit comes from inflation. So the inflationary force is there, and that's long-term inflation. The coin supply will always inflate over a long enough period of time, but it can have deflationary periods as people are burning more coin. So that's why we're going from 100 million down to 50 million.
We don't have any control over how many coins people burn, but we can take a look at the system and we can see what the current number is. So for example, if we start off with the mainnet with say 25 million coins claimed, and that means that the entire network only has 25 million coins. And in order to prevent a 51% attack, you have to have at least half of that 25 million burned. That could be 12.5 million. So out of that 12.5 million, there's an inflation of 2% on the total supply, which is 25 million. So you want to take 2% of 25 million, and that comes out to, let's just take a look at it. That's 0.02 times 25. So about 500,000 coins in that case. Whoever is mining is going after that stash. That's how you end up distributing those tokens. And as more people claim, the 2% is being applied to a larger and larger number until every single coin in a snapshot has been claimed. Right. That's basically how tokenomics will work on mainnet. We got a couple questions here. Let's take them real quick. Which one should we start with?
Let's start with Atik Raman. Is there a benefit of burning more coins up front than burning them slowly? So the idea of VHP being virtual hash power, it's really your capital expense to burn coin and get VHP is what will drive your production capacity, right? So same as, if you have more mining rigs in a proof of work system, more VHP means you have more chances to produce a block successfully and get rewarded for that. So the benefit of having more burned at any one time is that you'll be selected to produce more blocks. And so that's really the benefit, is like you'll see more total profit, even though your percent is the same, regardless of how much. Now,
right. So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if you're a smaller miner, because of the way the randomization works, just like with proof of work, if you just have your computer running with the Bitcoin mining algorithm, you have a very low chance of actually producing a block, but it's possible, right? So if you only have a handful of VHP sitting in your wallet and you're running a node, it's going to be pretty unlikely that you actually get selected, but eventually you will, statistically.
And so let's bring that back to the price chat over here. when we approach mainnet, we expect there to be at least half of the token supply to be burned and actively participating in mining and security of the blockchain. So that means that if all goes well, then 50% of the entire token supply will be basically locked and unable to trade with because it's being used on a mining network. You can think of it almost like staking because these tokens can't participate in trading when it's actually working to mine. And that's going to actually impact the price and the liquidity of the token as we move forward.
Yeah. So another question from Zulksar Well, a handful is. So I said you can burn if you just have a handful of VHP, then you're going to be low probability. The amount of VHP that actually gets redeemed per block is based on the 3-second block time. So if you look at the numbers, anyway, you got to dig into the contract to figure out the math exactly. But right now on testnet, it's something like 2.5 to 3 VHP gets redeemed for coin every block. And then on mainnet, we'll have a larger supply. So I think we'll probably be somewhere in like the 5 to 10 range of VHP for any one block. So, and we're probably going to have 50 million VHP in the system, plus or minus. So if you had, let's say, 1 million VHP, then that would give you a 1 in 50 chance of producing a block. Whereas if you had 100,000, then that's a 1 in 500. I think I'm doing my math right. Chance there. So, and then it just goes down from there. So you can get a sense of how often you'd be producing blocks based on that.
So let's talk about the price prediction. I know this is why everyone's here right now. Current price 43 cents. Let's put the bid on there. I know there's a lot of guys in chat right now. Do you think that coin is worth $1? And would you sell it at $1 right now? Anybody in the chat room willing to take that?
I'm buying.
Personally, $1 is an obvious thing, right? We've already hit 150. $1 in the Koinos market cap represents a $100 million market cap, which is in line with many, many smaller tokens that are already well known, well established. And we're coming out there with something that's brand new. Well, not we, but the Koinos network is coming out with something brand new where you get 0 transaction fees for smart contracts, which I think is a killer deal.
Right. Yeah, and that 0 transaction fees is it's based on how much coin you hold, right? So if you have 1 coin, that gives you 1 mana, and that 1 mana regenerates every 5 days. And that 1 mana can be used to pay for transactions, but you're probably going to want more than 1 mana in your wallet to be able to pay for things.
Absolutely.
So if you're doing DEX swaps and that kind of thing, you're probably going to want 10 to 100 coin in your wallet so you can play around with it consistently and never really run out of mana. And we don't know exactly what the price is going to be and at what level people are going to be able to come in who are new participants. But for people who have it now, you're going to want to keep a good amount of that coin in your wallet so that you can use the network. So that's really what you're buying. It's like instead of having to buy new ETH every time you want to use the network and pay for gas fees, whatever coin you buy now, you're set. You don't ever have to buy more unless you really want to, because that mana is going to continue to regenerate. And all you're really spending is your opportunity cost. Is do you want to do that transaction now or a different transaction later? So from that perspective, it's really like a license to use the network forever. And if you consider Koinos to be basically equivalent to Ethereum in terms of the functionality, then if you could pay for a forever access to Ethereum, I mean, how much would you pay for that?
Oh, well, the problem with that question is that at the time we didn't know where Ethereum would go. We didn't know how far it would take us. We didn't even know Ethereum 2.0 would exist at the time, right? Mm-hmm. But now today we know that blockchain is pretty much here to stay. We know the power of smart contracts. We just don't know where we can take it, and that that killer decentralized application doesn't exist yet. And so we're on that path to try to figure it out. And in the Koinos community, we all believe that 0 fees is the first step to it, because there is this innate need to use programs without having to pay fees. And as soon as we allow people to start using systems like Koinos, we're probably going to find other blockchains also come in with 0 fees. And that's where we're going to get the creativity on what the next killer dApp will be.
Right.
But let's see here. Let's go up this coin market cap here. Or I'm sorry, coin market cap. Don't use them. CoinGecko's a lot better. But let's see here. 43 cents, which represents a $43 million market cap. Let's zoom out a little bit. Let's just go up the line here. Here's our market cap up here. When we compare to Gods Unchained, 45 million. Keep going up. Telos, 46 million. What else? Some names that you recognize here.
And you have to remember that at the top of the bowl, we had 150 million market cap, and everybody's been hit like this. So we've been moving up the ranks steadily ever since.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can see the top 300. We're not even to 100 million yet.
Yeah. Wow. Really not.
So my price prediction right now, I like to look much longer term, but in terms of the short term, I think that we're going to continue to counter the overall market, and we're going to have a bit of a run up here to mainnet. Things are going to get really weird for a period of time while there's no trading activity. And then once we're either on a centralized exchange or there's a bridge and we have wrapped coin on Ethereum or wrapped Ethereum on Koinos and that kind of thing, then we'll start to see the price continue to tick up, because mainnet's going to be proven out, and people who've been participating on the network before that will really have seen the value of it. It'll be proven. So I can't say that it's going to be $1 or $50 or $100 in any certain amount of time, but I would say that in the long term, Koinos is set up to rival Ethereum. I think that, within the decade, I've said that Koinos should be top 3. If you look at BNB and if you look at the other top chains, you've got XRP, you've got these others in the top 10. Koinos really offers a unique value proposition compared with them. Pretty much everybody below the top 2 is a competitor to Ethereum, and they're just trying to be another Ethereum. Maybe they're faster, maybe they are cheaper, but it's really not a direct it's not really competitor. It's an alternative, right?
Yep.
Koinos offers an alternative model, and for that reason alone, I think that Koinos really does have that potential, and I think that we'll get there probably within the decade.
There's a paradigm shifting thing that we're going through right now, because I think you will see people talk about this all the time. There's a difference between a $1 fee and a 1 cent fee. There's a difference between a 1 cent fee and a 0.00001 cent fee. It's that it's cheaper, but there is a paradigm shifting ideology when you have a low fee and no fee at all. So that's something that I think is going to be very, very unique aspect to Koinos. And one thing I want to bring up is that some people are going to talk about the fact that there is no centralized exchange and how it's going to crush the price. But I want to bring one story up to people. If you ever heard of the Steem blockchain, it was the project that the Koinos Group previously worked on, not as Koinos Group, but as engineers of Steemit Inc. It's a project that was originally thought of by Dan Larimer and was the first social media blogging blockchain out there. When they launched, they did not, I believe they didn't have a centralized exchange listing the token. However, people were able to sign up and post blogs and earn tokens that way. So that's what really got them on the map, because it was really accessible. It was a very Web2-like experience about signing up, getting on there, posting blogs. It's a very Web2-like experience. The difference was that they were able to earn tokens using that blogging system. Now on Koinos, there is no specific purpose feature like that. It's a very general purpose blockchain. And so what advantage are we going to have that we can take from Steemit? Well, if you think about it, on Koinos, one of the biggest developments to have is the ability to share your mana with other users, which means that other people can use the blockchain without having to actually acquire the token, much like Steem. A lot of people didn't get Steem from a centralized exchange. They got it from posting blogs and using proof of brain by actually working to get tokens. Here, I think we're going to see something very similar where you can share mana with other users, and you're going to build up a user base large enough so that someone's going to recognize and say, hey, These guys are getting users at a massive rate. We should definitely list them. And that's where you're probably going to find when Koinos becomes, it goes like this, and all of a sudden it skyrockets. It's all about the users. It's not about the price. The price comes afterwards.
Right. Yeah, and it's important to look at what the team really learned from Steam. Because they were the engineers of Steam, they were really in the trenches. And Steam, if you remember, way back when, Steam actually topped out, I believe, at number 3 by market cap.
Yeah, let's take a look.
And so they've been there, and they've been in the trenches, and they have been through countless hard forks, and they're really one of the most battle-tested teams for a brand new blockchain out there. Now, when you look at the what that means for Koinos, they've built Koinos to be highly upgradable with fewer hard forks for things that are needed. So almost everything that needs to be upgraded at any given time on a blockchain can be upgraded live through a governance proposal that gets voted on through block production. So no need to coordinate hard forks, things like changing out the consensus algorithm, a lot of the performance improvements, changing the rate of inflation. What else? There's so much that can happen to update the blockchain without needing to actually go through the hard fork process. So
Yeah.
that agility is what gives me confidence, both the team's experience and the agility of being able to update and upgrade without going through all that headache. So things like ETH 2.0, where they went through and changed out the consensus algorithm, that would have been a simple smart contract upgrade on Koinos. So pretty.
Yeah. If you're running a node right now, we're still in version 4. And if you notice, there are several microservices that have been upgraded to version 4.2. And all of that happened without a hard fork. The only thing you needed to do was delete your Docker image and point to the latest version of the microservices you want to use, and then run the network again. You don't have to resync, and you're basically brought up to date with the most latest version of a node. And so there's been several upgrades to the existing version 4 testnet without hard forks, and it's gone pretty smoothly, pretty beautifully. We're forking all over the place, but this is what we're doing to optimize the network, and it's been a really wonderful process to watch. So we had a bid at $1. Of course, I think nobody would sell their tokens for $1 right now.
Very few people.
Very few. But let's bring that time frame from a decade down to, say, end of 2023. I know we have some economic turmoil right now. The Fed's saying that they might not raise the rates at 0.75 basis points or 75 basis points. We may have some high volatility, but just because we have volatility doesn't mean there aren't any all-time highs. It doesn't mean that we're at a bottom market either. It just means that we'll be trading high, low, and all over the place. But do you think we can see $5 next year?
I mean, I think it's very possible. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't say for any certainty. But I think that feels like a very rational bet. It's highly likely that we will have, mainnet will launch at some point in the following months. We should get on a centralized exchange. Obviously, no guarantees there. Somebody should finish up the bridge, and there should be able to be trading activity picking back up. If nobody else does, then I guess we'll take it. I don't know. There's a lot of opportunity to get Koinos tradable again, and I think that is a priority for a lot of people in the community. And so the move to $5, that's only 10x from where we are right now. And with Koinos mainnet running live and proven out in the wild, that feels like an easy move to me. But yeah,
here's $500 million market cap. A $5 coin's a $500 million market cap. We're looking at about Paxgo, Curve DAO, Casper Network, Trust Wallet. I didn't know Trust Wallet had their own token. Zilliqa, if ENS is near the $500 million market cap. These are all tokens that people generally are very familiar with, but they are not level ones, right? They're not layer 1 blockchains. Layer 1 blockchains are a very unique set of blockchains because they're the base and foundation of many other projects. So if you think about it, if projects pride zero fees to get users, what blockchain would they launch on? You only have one option.
Yeah, it's going to be Koinos as the choice. But if you're looking for zero fees today, you pretty much have to go layer 2 or build your own blockchain.
It's a tough call. So that's why I think that we'll find that there's a lot of strength. There's a lot of probability that we'll probably end up seeing a much higher price than we see now. I think $5 next year is something that we'll touch. Whether it can stay there or not, totally different story, right? We don't know about the liquidity at that point. We don't know if there's a DApp that can actually justify that value for long term, but certainly from a trader's perspective and from a unique value perspective, I don't think it's impossible for us to see $5 at all. So what else do we have in the comments here?
So top 100 next year. You heard it here first.
Well, let's see. It's top 100. Where's it today? Celsius network. We just got to get up there, which,
400 million.
Those guys are still at $400 million and they're just basically bankrupt, and we're not even close to that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull out some comments here on the chat, and then we'll end the show. Let's see right here. Is 60,000 coin enough? I get that question a lot.
There is no right number here. Buy what you're comfortable with. Don't risk your entire stash. If you're looking to be diversified, then that's probably a good idea. This is a brand new blockchain. While things have been tested and gone really well on testnet, and we're extremely bullish about it, you have to look at your own risk tolerance and make an educated decision here.
Absolutely.
Is 60,000 enough? That should be more than enough to cover like your personal usage, be able to make a yield through proof of burn, and then probably still have some extra mana to delegate to other people. So if you really want to be a participant in the network, I feel like 10,000 is more than enough to really be a participant for the long term.
Consider this: if you had 10,000 ETH, do you feel like you're a participant in Ethereum?
Definitely.
Let's went to some more comments here. Is there a tutorial on how to burn coin? Yes, there is. I created a quick tutorial on how to use a CLI burner. The CLI wallet to burn tokens and run a mining service. If somebody could just drop that in the link, it's about a 20-minute video on how to run your own node. If you don't want to run a node, then Luke and I actually have created burncoin.com as a public mining pool. You can burn through that service without running a node as well.
Yeah. And if you like written instructions, you can also go to docs.koinos.io, and then in the official docs there's instructions on how to get a node running and how to burn your coin.
Atik over here believes the bottom price end of 2023 is $3. I like that number too. What else we got here?
Most recent one from Floater. What are some risks associated with Koinos? The blockchain hasn't been launched yet, right? So while the team has been proven before working on Steam, and all the code's out on GitHub, and you can verify it yourself and play around with testnet and get a sense of what you're buying, there's plenty of risk in terms of whether or not you trust this team, whether or not you trust the code that's been written, and whether you trust what we say. And honestly, you shouldn't trust us. You really should be doing your own research. So yeah, the risk is really around how much time you're going to spend investigating and coming up with an answer to that for yourself. But yeah, the risks are really around this being untested on a mainnet level. Obviously, testnet's been running really well. We're over 1.5 million blocks produced on this version of the testnet. There were more before this. But yeah, proof of burn's been running successfully on testnet, and governance proposal was voted through. Pretty much all of the keystone features have been tested on testnet, and I'm really confident going into mainnet, but obviously there's financial risk anytime you're putting money in.
I also want to take this time to point out that the entire Koinos team, their docs, you can figure out who they are. You can find their LinkedIn address and take a look at who they are, what they've worked on. At the same time, it's also an all-American team. They're all located in the United States. They're not anonymous people in different parts of the world. So that gives you kind of a confidence on what they're trying to do, because there's a lot of projects out there where they have mysterious developers, and they don't tell you who they are, where they are. You can't find out what they've done in the past. And it's hard to trust the kind of project like that. So, take a look at the Koinos.io site, and you'll be able to find their LinkedIn page. And one last comment here.
Before you do that, plugging, they have some great YouTube videos out as well, where you can actually see the team and listen to them talk. And then plugging my podcast again, you can go to podcast.thecoinpress.com, coin with a K. And I have interviews up with every member of the team there. So
absolutely.
Check it out.
And last comment here, with a daily volume of $160,000 and total liquidity of approximately $250,000, the market cap is not a real indicator. He's absolutely right on that. It's a low liquidity environment, and that number can change very, very suddenly. So personally, when I take a look at my coin holdings, I consider it to be zero, because we don't have main yet. There's still a lot of work necessary to be done in order to bring this idea of a zero-fee blockchain to reality and into users' hands. So just because mainnet gets launched doesn't mean that you get all the value right then and there. It still requires community to use applications, and developers to come in and really build the tools and dApps necessarily to bring this ecosystem and make it thrive. So the only way that can happen is mainnet gets here and people begin to use the network. And I want to really stress out that the community and developers were really trying to find a way to allow people to use the blockchain without having to touch a centralized exchange. And that's the process of delegating your mana or appointing your mana, which is how you share the access to the blockchain without having actual tokens. Very powerful tool there. All right. Is there anything else? Does anybody else want to get any comments here? Anything else to add, Luke?
No, I think we hit a lot of good points today. Like you said, we don't usually talk about price. We're much more interested in the technology. We're building dApps ourselves. You've seen burncoin.com. We're really excited about what Koinos is and what it offers, and we're looking forward to taking advantage of delegations of mana, so that we can build dApps that are really designed for people who don't even buy coin. And so yeah, this one's really designed for people who already have coin and want to come in and start earning a yield without running their own node. But for our next projects, we're looking to build things that put mana in the hands of people who don't own their own coin. So exciting stuff.
That's going to be the biggest market, absolutely. I think we're going to get more users who don't want to deal with handling private keys and managing all that stuff. So it's going to be a very powerful thing. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Next week we'll have more, and on Friday, Chris, Halloween is on Friday, right? No, it's on Monday. Okay.
Yeah.
So all of next week, and then we have Monday coming up. So stand by for more shows. Follow us on YouTube and Twitter. Luke's Twitter page is at Luke M. Willis. And mine is at Quixihe, which is Kuixihe. And obviously, you're on my YouTube page right now. Follow for updates. We'll get more videos out to you guys. And next week, we're going to have more guests from Koinos Group coming in to talk about the operations and more about Koinos. So thank you for all joining.
Yeah, thanks, everybody.
Great. Take care, guys. Goodbye.
Bye.